hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads. On this week's Soul Share episode, I'm very excited to have Ramin, Nazer, like laser, here with me on the show. Nazer the Laser is an artist, comedian, host of the Rainbow Brainskull Hour podcast. In all of his work, Ramin deals with big themes like spirituality, being artistic, fear, death. Always does so with a wondrous sense of levity. And this is the first time someone sent over a little description of themselves and I actually read it because I like that. That's true. You do it with a wondrous sense of levity. I know. Ramin, welcome to the show, my friend.
I wrote that bio. Interesting. Maybe I stole it from another podcast I was on because I'm so lazy with these booking stuff, and they're like, "Do you have a bio?" And I just search my name and bio, and I'm like, "That looks good from this podcast they did in 2017."
Totally.
As you're saying it, I was like, "Who wrote that about me?" They spent some time on that.
They really, yeah. I mean, they're good. I mean, I added the actually you added the laser part when you told me the pronunciation, and I just adapted it. So I did, there is some of me in there, but
okay, yeah, you get what is it, co-producer credit or executive
right.
producer
credit. We'll share all the royalties that rain down upon us from this intro.
You know what I mean? They'll come to me first, but don't worry, I will cut you a check after expenses.
After expenses. I trust you. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna start with my very predictable opening question, and I think you might know it because you've listened to Positive Head once or twice. So, do you know what the opening question is? Do you remember?
Now I'm like mixing it up with another podcast. You're not asking me my favorite animal, color, or number. That's Noah.
Nope.
So you are going to ask me, I don't know. It's too early. It's too early in the morning.
You know what? When I was on your podcast, you blew me away with all the little tidbits and facts you knew. And
I'm not a good test taker though. See, I was coming up with it on my own, but now you're quizzing me, and that part of me shuts down because I have to.
We're starting off on a rough foot.
It's the worst episode ever.
All right, here it is. Worst episode ever. You're in an elevator. The woman next to you looks over, says, "What's your passion?" You got 10 floors to answer. What do you say?
What's my passion? First, I reposed the question to them to buy me a little more time, even though I've had years to prepare this question because I've been listening since about 2017. But it's, I think, pure creative expression maybe is the answer I'm thinking of right now. And
I like that answer. That's a good one. That suits you.
Because it's about getting out what is inside of you, and who knows where it got there from. Some people call it download. Some people call it, it's your nurture, your nature. Some people have a thing they want to do. They really need to dance or sing or write or argue with people on the internet or.
That's my thing.
They've got to do something like that. And if they don't let it out, it becomes poison inside them. And then it kind of takes a different form, and perhaps that manifests in yelling at your family or at random objects in the house. But we've seen it before. When you don't live your true life, you pursue a shadow that's like kind of close to what you should be doing, you start to resent the world. And I get it, it's tough for some people because you might have kids and too many jobs and you're trying to make bills pay. Why should I paint flowers all day if that's my passion, to paint flowers? Make some time for it. Try to make a little bit of time for it and get that thing out of you, whatever it is. But I like freedom. I've crafted my life around being free and not having to work for a building or a person. And I like that a lot. I like waking up whenever I want. I like doing what I want within the confines of the law and non-legal ethics as well. So you can be a nice boy. And other than that, just, yeah, have fun. Just do stuff. Do you know the bass player Mono Neon?
No.
He played with Judith Hill and Prince, and he does a lot of Instagram stuff. He's very funky, but someone interviewed him asking him what the secret of life was. And he goes, I don't know. Just do stuff, I guess. I don't know.
I like
every
that
question. He just like says, I don't know.
I like that. That's my closing cliche question. What is the meaning of life in 60 seconds or less? If you remember that, and if you don't, now you have time to prepare, which I kind of ruined it, but
or I'll just switch and go super nerdy on you and just go 42, but we don't know what the question. What's the question? And what is it? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They make that computer that computes the answer. What is the meaning of life? And after billions of years or thousands of years, maybe it outputs the number 42. And then they realize, well, we don't really know the question, what is the meaning of life? We don't really understand what we're asking when we ask that. So they have to build an even bigger computer that can compute the question. And hence 7 books that go wherever.
And the answer was 42?
Yeah, the answer was like on page 1 of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that the meaning of life is 42.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. My favorite number is 37. So, I'm only 5 off.
Interesting choice. Where did that come from?
It came from when I was a kid, me and my best friend growing up, one of my best friends. Turns out we were the most obnoxious teenagers that ever walked the face of the earth.
Bad boys of Christian school.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's actually true. We both got kicked out of Christian schools at various points in our journey. And so we would just, I don't know why, when, where, how it started, but people would, ask a question, kind of like the meaning of life or whatever. And we would just obnoxiously make this our answer, which we just go 37. And and we would do that for 50% of the things that people asked us.
So you came up with the 42 thing without even knowing it.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I was just 5 days earlier, 5 years earlier or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But actually, if you were a kid, I don't know when the book came out, whatever. I'll give you credit for it. You invented the giving a number for the meaning of life.
I will. Hopefully they'll send me royalties as well to go along with our intro.
No, you've got enough, don't you? You do.
And then we're going to come up with a new workshop during this interview as well. So, there's a lot of new revenue streams rolling in quickly here.
Did we say that off mic already? I
think
that was off mic where I was joking that I don't have an agenda, but by the end of this episode, I will have a course that I'm going to sell you. And that course is how to make a course and sell it for $69.95 in the span of an hour.
In the span of 69 minutes.
Yes.
Which is how long this podcast may end up being.
69 is very magical because it's this, everyone understands what it means. It's silly. And I remember I was at not Dodger Stadium. What's the basketball arena where the Lakers play? Staples Center?
Staples Center. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were at the Staples Center and we're waiting for whatever awful greasy food we're getting at the concession stand. And the cashier goes, order 69. And then the cashier next to them starts going, and then the fry cooks in the back start going, and then all of a sudden, like the whole line and the cashier start erupting in laughter. And like we all had this shared moment. We're just giggling at the fact that there's order 69 and they work there every day. That's got to happen more than once.
And then the creepy guy comes out from the back who looks super creepy and grabs an order and takes it into the office. And then everyone gets really nervous when he brings back out order 69.
You can
Okay.
keep that. We don't have
Well,
to share
we're
the fries
good.
there.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. All right. All right. So wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're
Where do
already
we
on
go from
69.
where do we go? Where do we go
We've
from
got The
here?
Meaning of Life. We've got my new book is out, except it's not a new book. It's from 2019, but I ran out of physical books and I couldn't afford to restock them until now. And now they're back and you can get them for the low price of $25.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting running a business and then you can't supply stuff sometimes just based on whatever liquid amount of cash you have at that moment.
Cash flow is a very important part of keeping a business going. It takes a lot of businesses down.
Do you deep dip? What am I trying to say? Do you dip deep? Like, are you financially stable constantly, or do you take risks where you're like, oh, I'm like putting a lot of my liquidity into this. I hope this pans out.
I've been pretty much financially stable for a decade or so. Yeah,
Since you were like
maybe
because you've lived on couches and you were you've experienced the other side, so you're like, okay,
I've experienced the other side.
Yeah.
I've experienced the other side for sure. And I mean, could I experience it again? Yeah. There's certainly been times in that 10 years where things were less financially sexy than other times,
financially sexy. That's like, I think it's or not, I think it is this way. It's better to have money than it is to not, because you can always not have money. You can always you can always get rid of it instantly. You can buy a boat on Amazon and give the wrong address and then the money's just gone. And
that's a good point.
Same with celebrity. I know that people complain as celebrities you can't go to the grocery store, but you can pretend to not be a celebrity too. You can wear a get up, but
that's right. I think that would be fun either way, whether I'm a celebrity or not, to pretend I am a celebrity and then dress up so people don't notice me. Maybe I'm. Have you seen that
study before? They got some kid. They pretended that he was famous. They did his hair up like a famous TikToker or something and gave him sunglasses, and they hired 15 people to follow him and take photos. And then the rest of the world started to think that this was a famous person, ask for his photograph. When they were asked what your favorite song of his was, they're like, all of them. I love this. I love this guy. All of them. Yeah. And it's just this fake famous guy to see if they could trick people into following along with it. But that has nothing to do with the meaning of life. So
it shows you, it does have something to do with the meaning of life. It shows you how ridiculous celebrity is and how people are such sheep about like, once there's enough people that look up to you, now it's okay, or whatever it is. It's just like, it's I don't know. It's a thing that
the meaning has
transformed
me, though, and it's kind of cool in that before it used to mean that you were all powerful, and now that power has crumbled a bit, where we're seeing people get canceled. And I know everyone has like opinions on cancel culture, and it's very
I was actually going to, part of this, I was going to really start this as, in addition to starting a new workshop with you and everything, is how can I cancel you during this?
Oh, easy. Just isolate any clip of my podcast and just put it on Twitter and it's done. No, I'm not even that provocative, or what's not provocative, controversial.
You did share quite the story on Comedy Central about your DMT trip, via Shane Moss, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty controversial. I mean, you're doing an illegal substance.
No, I did it
on Comedy Central.
I did it in Peru or wherever it's legal. And also I didn't do anything that was a deep fake of me saying random sounds. Right. So, okay. But those random sounds could be interpreted as the DMT story. I basically talk about, if you haven't seen it, the Comedy Central Tales from the Trip. I talk about doing this DMT substance with our friend Shane Moss, and seeing the whole multiverse and all the different possible timelines, and they all exist simultaneously. And I had stepped out of them somehow, and I'd forgotten where I came from and the whole system. There's this big ominous voice that I can't even describe how it sounded. It's just kind of knowing it, but they were saying, oh, we can send you back, but we need to know which universe you came from. But if you tell us which one, we'll send you back right away. And I couldn't for the life of me remember which timeline I came from. And I pondered a little bit in the timeless void. And since, what's the point? I could stay there for 1,000 years and it wouldn't matter. And eventually I narrowed it down to 2 different timelines.
So you were literally sitting there in DMT realms, and you're sifting through all the potential timelines. Do you recall? I'm sure it's a little foggier now, since
it's nothing but fog.
Yeah, heavy fog. Do you remember like sifting through the timelines and seeing the differences between them?
Not at the detail, like super detailed level. Maybe just like the couch is a different color or the house is a different shape. The details all just fade away very fast. But did you ever watch Sliders with Jerry O'Connell? I'm like pop culture reference man today.
I feel like shows. Is that the one where they're like in the like monsters in the earth or something?
I don't think so, but it did get weird in the later seasons. But in the first season, it's about this guy that creates this dimension jumping device, maybe by accident, and then he jumps into another dimension, and all of a sudden he's getting yelled at for going through green lights, and then people are like, "The light's green, asshole!" And he eventually concludes that, "Oh, I'm in a parallel universe where green light means stop and red light means go." And that's hilarious. The whole show, every episode, there's a new dimension he goes to, and there's a lot of political, social commentary, like what if women were the dominant gender? What if Russia had won the Cold War, etc., and like how things would play out like that. But I had that feeling very much in the realm that like I'm looking at very closely related timelines, and that happened in the Sliders show. Actually, he thought he found home because his fence normally squeaks, and he's like, this is it, I found my home fence, it has this specific squeak. And then a week later he goes to the Golden Gate Bridge and it's blue. Yeah.
So you found what you obviously found your way back, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you are now in a different timeline than you were, because if I recall, there was a part to the story where you came home and it was a little weird.
Yeah, I came home and I was sure that I had picked the wrong one, but it was okay because the only difference was where we started. I thought I started it in the living room, and it turns out it was in the bedroom or wherever.
So your memory tells you started taking the DMT in the living room. When you came back from choosing your timelines to drop back into, you're now in the bedroom.
Yeah,
and
and I didn't sleepwalk or roll over or get picked up or anything. It was a pure timeline jump.
Wow. Was there anything else how sure were you that you started in the living room versus the bedroom when you got back?
Feeling wise, 100%, but also memory is so unreliable. And it's one of the reasons me and Shane on our podcast, Mind Under Matter, we have a good dynamic, because I tend to gravitate more towards the woo woo, hence the Positive Head podcast, the Abraham Hicks, the and then he's interviews scientists all day. He's very skeptical about everything. He has crazier DMT psychedelic stories than anyone, and even after that,
he's
even
still
after
skeptical.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, well, it's my brain doing this because the pineal gland is releasing some sort of can articulate it in a scientific way.
But I remember his DMT story on Comedy Central as well, was seeing this purple lady he thought he was in a relationship with. She felt very familiar to him. And then someone else went into DMT after him, and this same lady communicated with him to tell Shane something. That's pretty wild.
The funny part of that was that his friend says, "Oh, I see the purple lady. She says she misses you." And then Shane goes, "Yeah, she says that to me too." And then the guy says, No. She says she misses you, Shane, not me. Yeah. She's telling me about you. And the person had no knowledge of the purple lady. The purple lady is very popular. Even Michaela Peterson reached out to Shane and had him on, which I thought that was a fun clashing of worlds.
I don't know who that is.
That's Jordan Peterson's daughter. Jordan Peterson.
Oh, yeah. How funny.
Yeah. She's got a podcast. She has like people from all over. It's tough to so many podcasts now are tough to put a category on, which I kind of like, because then it becomes it's like, this is Brandon's podcast and the other co-hosts that you have occasionally, but there's not like, well, I can't have this person on, they're not positive enough, I can't have them on. It's people you're interested in.
You actually bring up an interesting point. Now I want to get someone who's super negative and skeptical. I don't think I've really done that. I mean, I've had a few people who are, a little less woo for sure, but I think that would be really fun. Or bring my dad on and I'll battle about Christianity or something.
We've talked about that Ram Dass quote, right? Like, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a weekend with your parents or with your family or whatever the line is.
Amen.
Yeah. or just in your regular life, it just might be that way. And it's fun to imagine that anyone that's triggering you was put there by you. Like, imagine something that triggers you heavily. That's what you just created. You made a person act that way.
I definitely have experienced that in very interesting ways. Even in the last 6 months, I had someone here at the Mystic Manor that they moved in and they have my birthday. And I have, all this crazy birthday synchronicity. So I knew I was in for some kind of ride. Holy moly. Like, what a trigger bonanza. And, but like,
they were too similar to you, or just
no, they weren't similar. I mean, there were some similarities. It was sort of like, if I could imagine certain parts of my own self, really exacerbated and like, sort of like shadow parts of myself now manifested in as another character, and with a lot of just like, intense energy. And there was some, there's some mental stuff going on there that was just really challenging. And this person was very, very strong-willed and can be aggressive and also loving and big-hearted. I really care for them now that we're not under the same roof. We're friends.
Yeah, sometimes you need that distance.
Whew. But talk about a boss at the end of the video game level. And then the day he moved out, it was like a tornado hit our house and like blew everything apart, like in this wild, weird way. Like it felt like energetic. Like I passed the test where it ended amicably. And it's like, I don't know, like a void of energy or something. So
this was in the last 6 months, a tornado hit Mystic Manor?
I mean, that's, I'm being a little, maybe it's an exaggeration to say a tornado. A lot of wind that blew things off my balcony and I was 30 minutes down the road, 45 minutes down the road at my parents' house. It was like sunny and clear. Normally it's identical weather, And people that were here right after he left was like, oh my gosh, it was like we thought the house was going to blow down,
Oh, yeah. California is weird like that, isn't it? The way that you can look out at the skyline and half of the world is this shadow, dark, cloudy place. And then the sun is shining, the other one.
Yeah. Totally. It definitely can be. And this seemed unnatural or something, So in my, imagination, and I think it could be real, but it is my imagination. Like it feels like perhaps me and this person have had a lot of past life, butting of heads. And in this case, I cleared that karma, it's like it ended in a good way. Energy rushes in as he rushed out. That was, it's like, okay, that's done, you complete, you passed the test, that's what it felt like. So
you did it.
I did it.
Did you do you resonate with the the soulmate, the twin flame, this language of
I've been talking about this. Funny enough, in the last few days, I've always said I don't know. I'm open to all the things. I read something one time that resonated about. I think I did a podcast on it years and years ago, where someone had written their whole idea of here's what a twin flame is, here's what a soulmate is, here's what a karmic relationship is. And I remember in that reading about soulmate and in it saying a lot of times what can happen in a certain lifetime is this very significant, soulmate. You'll find each other in a certain lifetime, but one has outpaced the other, or you're at a different point in your evolution. So you have all this draw and pull and connection, yet it's just not a match. And one will end up sort of chasing the other one, and one is avoiding. And that's, at the time I was going through that very thing for the first time in my life, where I had this partner, met her on my birthday, lots of synchronicity. Her ex committed suicide on my birthday, has the same name as the little town in North Carolina where all my relatives are from that have my birthday, my grandmother, great grandmother, dad, so it's like obvious connection. And so I really, that rang true to me because I'm experiencing something like that, or I have, and, I met her on my birthday. We were together for a few years. She then led me to my next partnership, and then even my current partnership. All three over a decade or so have come from the same meeting of this person. And once we split, she would never talk to me again. Nothing I could do. I wanted so much to reconnect with her and just have a friendship and just, make sure she's good and care about her so much. And to this day, like she will not speak to me, it's like total avoidance. And so that feels, like, that description, I've definitely have an experience that could be related to that. Right. And definitely we're not on the same page in our development and growth and evolution. A lot of immaturity and insecurity on her part at this stage. I did one time get to then talk to someone. I had someone on the show who her whole thing was she would connect with people's higher selves and communicate, to them through her for you, so I did this with this person, and it was really interesting what her higher self said. Well, at first she was like, "Oh, you pushed me out. I don't want to talk to you." Like, which is, I can see why that would be relayed. Because it was like the partner I met, I had after her, I met through her. And the day I met her, I had a total intuitive knowing, like, oh my gosh, whoever this person is I'm meeting, I know I'm going to be with one day. It just felt so strongly. A year and a half later to the day breaking up with the first one, the second one moved to town where I lived and started working with me. And then a month later we were together. It was very, force, my spidey senses worked really well. And so, but anyway, I was talking to her higher self, and at first I was like, no, you pushed me out and like, but then she started talking and the higher self was saying, look, you'll want to fix me. And I don't want to be fixed. I'm right where I'm supposed to be at this point in my evolution and my growth. And you try and fix everything. And I don't want to be fixed by you. I like it here.
This is them saying it to you. They want to fix you.
Yeah. No. Her higher self was saying, look, the reason I won't talk to you or connect with you or be in your life is because you'll want to fix me. And I don't want to be fixed. That's not where I'm at right now. I want to experience these things that I'm going through. And so I think it's a really powerful lesson for all of us. Like, whose karma are you getting in the way of trying to, especially people like me and you who are always out there trying to, help bring perspective to the world. It's like, and allow people their process, allow people. It's like the person experiencing homelessness that I saw the other day. Same thing. I was like, wow, look at this guy. Like he's walking like a zombie, like, wow, it must be weird to be him. Like his energy was just so intense. And I'm with my girlfriend, and then we go to a restaurant. We sit where we have to sit outside on the sidewalk because of COVID. All of a sudden, 10 minutes later, this guy catches up to where we were that we had passed in the car, and I was talking about and like considering and maybe not judging, not in a negative way, but just, like, wow, what's, and then he gets right next to me on the sidewalk, looks at me, clear as a bell, this guy's face, this zombie guy, clear as a bell. All of a sudden he goes, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing fine. How are you? He goes, oh, I'm doing great. And then winked at me and kept walking. And it was like, oh my God, was that just an angel in disguise? Like what? It's just such a good lesson. Like we don't need to fix everyone. And that can be hard, when you really want to pull someone up and it's like, God knows, source, higher self, consciousness, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it knows what it's doing. And these souls are on a path of like, figuring out their own stuff. So that's my very long-winded answer to your question about soulmates. And then twin flames, I mean, it kind of makes sense too, is like this idea that, twin flame is like the soul kind of splits. Well, that's already happening anyway. So it's like degrees of separation that this, splitting is happening. And, the book Journey of Souls, I don't know if you're familiar with Journey of Souls.
Yes.
Yeah, so it talks about this idea that, you can incarnate in multiple places at once in the same, to speed up your evolution, you can take on multiple bodies, and not everyone does that. Some do. Okay, that would make sense. Then if you bump up against that more closely related than the other yous in the world, you know what I mean? It would feel some kind of way, right? So,
or the
what do
way
you
that
think?
people feel like sometimes I'm a reincarnation of Anne Frank, or I'm a reincarnation of Cleopatra or something. Like, it could very well be true, and it's split across 1,000 people, because Cleopatra is like, I'm done being one person. I'm going to split my energy
Yeah.
into
Well,
1,000 or something.
it's kind of like, I don't know if you've seen, I talk about this in my book, The Golden Key. I reference the short story, The Egg. Have you ever seen?
Yeah,
read
by
this?
Andy Weir. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
I hadn't read Golden Key last time we talked, and now by this one I had read it. It's a good book.
Oh, awesome! I'm glad you did that. I'm glad
Yeah,
you enjoyed
me
it.
too.
It's my 25 years of exploration on all this stuff. Just, I wanted to really distill something down. So,
It's just
once
the cream. Yeah.
once
all
the
other
aliens
fluff,
come and pick me up, I'll have that. That will be here, 1,000 years from now.
take us to your leader, and I just give them a golden key, and I start to flap its
Right.
mouth open.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello. That's the Jerry Seinfeld hello when he's got the belly out.
I like your Terrence McKenna impression. That's pretty good.
Well, the first thing you have to know with the Terrence impression is that you have to start it with the word well. So you say well, and then you start talking about The Weeknd, or Esselin, or Sasha Shulgin, or Timothy Leary, or even my brother, Dennis McKenna. And we could keep talking like this all day. And some of you might be thinking, well, who is Terrence? Well, look him up. Maybe he'll resonate with you.
My favorite quote of all time is Terrence. The nature loves courage quote.
Oh, nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and nature responds to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream, and it will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is the trick. This is how magic is done. It's about hurling yourself into the abyss and realizing that it's a feather bed.
Oh, you got
what
it.
Is a feather bed? Well, a bed. Yeah, he keeps describing stuff.
You had it. I thought, oh my gosh, he has it memorized, which I've been thinking for a long time I need to do. But you missed one part. This is the shamanic dance in the waterfall.
Oh, that's a good line too. I missed some of the juicy
This is
parts.
how alchemy is done, or something. I think there's an alchemy thing too.
This is how alchemy is done.
Or the alchemical dance in the waterfall, something like that. Yeah.
The alchemical dance in the waterfall, the eschaton of the final thing. And what is the final thing? Well, it's what history emerges from. This is the point I've been trying to get at all along. Is that history is not some random unfolding of events, but rather an attractor at the end of time. So you really have no choice other than to just laugh about it.
The laugh you've really got down. Congratulations.
Terrence is such a fun, he's the number one for me, I think. And my number one always switches around, because I just love different personalities, whether it's, Terrence McKenna, Ram Dass, even you, or like other podcasts or musicians or something. You like to tap into the way that they think for a day. Like, right. What would Brandon think about this? What would Terrence think like
I'm
about
scared
this?
to hear my imitation.
Well, and that's true too. I can't do it right now. Now it's like becoming Terrence, but Terrence.
You work on it, and you can come back on it once.
We'll be back next time with a fresh Beachum track. The way like Ram Dass still kind of believed in a thing. And it felt like Terrence was always questioning everything, whereas Ram Dass kind of concluded that it's the soul plane and we're all souls and it's the infinite dance and suffering is grist for the mill. And then Terrence would be like, but what is a mill, and what is suffering, and why is suffering, and how and where? Yeah.
And then he just keeps going.
Yeah. And I heard somewhere, it might have just been on some Netflix show, but how curiosity is a sign of declined depression. So if you're curious, that's an indicator that you're not as depressed. And I don't know if it works the same way that, they say if you smile for 12 minutes, it has the effects of actually smiling, or if you take a warm shower on your face, like it has the effect of actually crying. Like it does some trick in your brain that releases the chemicals
really?
it needs. So yeah, and just if you start to be really curious about stuff and just ask why. And I realize this can sound like it's neurosis, but not in the neurosis way, in the just curious, childlike wonder way. Like you can start to break out of the rut you've got yourself in. Because I feel like we're all getting in these little ruts in COVID with the quarantine and the not being able to go places and the day-to-day interactions just being Zoom, just being Instagram DMs, just being Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. It's pretty psychotic. And you got to find ways to reactivate your curiosity. And sometimes the stuff that was fulfilling that need before doesn't work anymore. Sometimes Terrence doesn't work after 2 weeks of listening to Terrence nonstop. You need something else. That's why I'm here. I'm the new thing right now.
The new Terrence.
Yeah.
Is this part of the workshop?
Oh yeah, it is. How to find a new personality to gravitate towards to solve your problems so that you don't have to think like you. Think like anyone but you. You hear that like about good impressionists, like they don't have a, which with the exception of like Jim Carrey or Robin Williams, or those people have strong personalities, but other impressionists, their regular personality is pretty flat. They just like to
It makes sense,
take on other things. Yeah.
What a trip.
Maybe actors. I'm thinking more of actors that are like that.
What a trip. Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Noom. Noom is a unique, habit-changing solution that helps users learn to develop a new relationship with food. And it's not a diet. No food is considered good or bad. As we talk about on this show all the time, it's all about proper balance and having good habits. And Noom just teaches you how to look within your own mind and make better decisions for yourself. Sounds familiar, right? It's based in psychology, eating better to feel better. It focuses on the story that we tell around food and how to feel good about our choices. And they make it all super easy to do with a minimal commitment of only 10 minutes a day, which is essential for someone like me with so much on my plate. Pun intended. So if you guys would like to try out the cognitive behavioral approach to losing weight that has led to 80% of Noomers finishing the program and 60% sticking to their goals for at least 1 year, head over to noom.com/positivehead to start your trial today. That's spelled NOOM.com/positivehead. I mean, what do you have to lose except outdated habits and perhaps a few extra pounds by signing up for the trial? Once again, that's NOOM.com/positivehead. Check it out. Well, let's see. Where do I
got you at I got you at a weird point. That's like, that's fun when it happens, right? You get at a silence like, so what else is going on with you have a new book out? And like, no, you have a new
tell me about this. No. Tell me about this workshop. So it's $69.69 is the cost.
$69.95.
$69.69.
Give her a try. The workshop. I've never given a workshop about anything. I was supposed to give a workshop at COSM with Alex Gray and Allison Gray at COSM
cool.
and Antheon.
You do art. Yeah, that's right. You do some pretty epic art, actually. I see this. It seems like it's out there everywhere. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Oh, how did you find me, by the way? From art or from podcasts? You don't even know, right? You have a team.
I have no memory of how, when, or where. I feel like we talked years ago about your art or something.
No, I was on Positive Head talking to Alexa, who's
that's right.
A good friend.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's been on my show. I've been on the Inner Bloom. We've done the Positive Head together.
That's right. Alexa, you were on a P-Head posse.
Hey. I don't know if you still listen to the episodes, but
she better. We'll find out. We'll find out because she'll let us know if she heard this.
Yeah, Alexa's great. Listen to Inner Bloom. Follow her on TikTok. Get her EFT.
Yeah, she's
training.
been blowing up her TikTok. She's been blowing up on her TikTok. I believe.
I still haven't dove into TikTok.
Me neither. I'm thinking about starting a competitor called TokTik. Maybe we can be the first two and think of all we'll have like 100% of the following. of the people
Just you
on
and
the
me,
platform.
yeah.
Because it's just me and you. And so when people ask about it, it's like, yeah, everybody follows me on that platform.
Yeah, it's like, guys, this is just a text message thread. Like, no, it's TalkTick. I think it's Giannis Pappas had a joke about it's called TikTok because it's China sending us a message that our time's running out.
I like that.
They've like got us hypnotized. They have all our data or whatever.
They own 50% of our real estate.
I had this image in my head of like this endless spiral of handing down sunglasses to the younger generation, because there's this feeling as you get older that you're not hip anymore and you don't get it. And what is this TikTok? And what is Lil Nas X? And what is SZA? And what's Lizzo? Who's Doja Cat? Who? Billie Eilish? What am I supposed to listen to? And now that's going to change too for those kids. So by the time you've handed them your cool sunglasses, they only get to wear it for like half the time you did, and so on and so on. And
right.
So if
my Oakley blades are not going to, my Oakley blades are going to get passed around a lot.
Oh yeah. Not since 99, right? I think 9/11 maybe killed that.
I don't know. I feel like Oakley blades were like mid 80s or something the first time. Yeah, I was there.
What I don't know why I'm thinking about them in 90s.
Oh,
Maybe
they've come back. They've come. Yeah, Riff Raff brought them back. So
yeah, I'm fascinated by like how world events change the culture, and I could just be making patterns out of nothing. But look at the late 90s: frosted tips, puka shell necklaces, all-star, like feel good kind of music came back, and then 9/11 happened, and then it became about eyeliner, wearing like black clothes, emo, hardcore became big again. Same with grunge. Grunge was following the post-AIDS 80s. So you have like the pre-AIDS, mid-Coke 80s, and there's hair metal and like computers and Devo and Talking Heads and like kind of feeling good. And then AIDS epidemic hits and like, okay, no more hair metal, no more feeling good. Flannel, Seattle, raining all the time.
I mean,
grunge.
That's such a good point. When Nirvana came out, I was in 11th grade. So I was like the perfect time to experience that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it was like all of a sudden, from one year, it's like, Def Leppard and Poison. And then the next year, it's like, I mean, talk about someone's career just being taken away and like overnight. It went like in a month where all of a sudden like nobody was listening to that other music anymore, and it was like grunge just like, man, Kurt just really screwed him up.
Like the way we threw our roller blades in the trash, like in 2003 or whenever it was. Fads are interesting.
What?
It's hard to know when
everyone threw theirs away. No wonder I've got all the room on the boardwalk. No one told me.
Oh, that might be different out there. Actually, maybe they've made a resurgence.
They could have. I don't know.
What was I don't know if I was even thinking of anything. No, these things are always changing. So to try to cling to an era and be like, oh, I've got to figure out what's going on TikTok. By the time you figure it out, it's over. So just be yourself.
Yep, exactly. That's why I haven't chased any of it. And it is a little annoying because, the whole world is judged based off of social media. And so it can like, I've had the experience where it kind of gets in the ways of opportunities. It's like, oh no, I have a popular podcast and I've done this, that, and the other. If you're going to judge me based off of my resume, yeah, but how many followers do you have on Instagram? I'm like, I post pictures of me and my mom at like Mother's Day dinner. Like, what do you want from me?
See, there was this article. I wish I remember where it came from. I think it came from a blog called Not Boring, and it's talking about the great online game and how we're all playing this great online game, and some of us are playing. We're playing Fortnite or Roblox or StarCraft or something, but we're playing these other games that are a level up where you're playing as yourself. You're playing as an avatar of yourself on Twitter, YouTube, Discords, and the line I'm trying to remember here was the game rewards community and cooperation over individualism and competition. You get points for being curious, sharing, and helping with no expectation of reciprocation. By increasing your surface area, you open yourself up to serendipity. So the game has no downsides and practically unlimited upsides for people doing it right. So it's fun to kind of look at it as like, you don't have to be exactly you on all these platforms. You can make up a name, make up an avatar, play on TikTok however you want, play on YouTube. But there's only so much time in the day, so it's tough to
That's the
chase
thing.
all
It's
the
I don't.
games,
Yeah.
right?
It's like Clubhouse came out, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect for me. Hold on, these people spend all day, every day. Their whole life is. I don't know if it's still the same way. I haven't been on it much in a
I think
while.
it's over. I think it's like
Is it?
what's it called? Vine. Maybe
Oh,
Vine
really?
ended in like 6 months.
Really? Is Clubhouse?
That's the word on the
decline?
street. I just hearing from people I know that were all in on it are like, it's kind of dead now. It's all marketing people and crypto traders and people trying to make a transactional quick buck. But who knows? Like Twitter wasn't working for, I think 2009 to 2011. Twitter was pretty dead, and then South by Southwest kind of kicked it up a notch. It was just the right time, right place, right time, and then it had its little moment.
I heard the way they blew up was at South by Southwest. They gave celebrities that were there their own accounts, signed them up for their accounts, and then had screens all throughout South by Southwest so that they could.
That's smart.
So that they could post something and then everyone sees it and like, oh, what a good idea.
I would fall for that instantly. Yeah.
Totally.
You get free billboard space.
Yep.
We're all narcissists to begin with, so it's like, of course I want this.
Yeah, of course.
To happen. And it's how many its am I going to say? You might not be meant for certain platforms. Like maybe you're not supposed to post on TikTok or Clubhouse, and maybe there's a new thing that comes out in 5 years that's just right, and you were meant to do that because it feels right. But
well,
I think there's
that's
no point
kind of I'm about
it.
to explore that to some degree. So my good friend works at BuzzFeed, and that's her whole world. Her nickname there is like Viral Girl, and she's super into what's happening on social media, obviously. And
exhausting, but some people are like that.
Exactly. But thank God bless her, because, couldn't be more out of the loop with all that. And she's been a long time listener of Positive Head, and we've gotten to be, 3D friends. And so now we're starting to look at collaborating, and her helping with, the show Optimistic, which I filmed a bunch of episodes of, released a few, did no marketing around it, not promoting it. COVID made it extra tough because we had retreats tied in, and that had to put a pause on it, and yada yada yada. And so anyway, I just met with her last week, and she's like, YouTube Shorts are YouTube's new run at TikTok, and so she wants to start making all these shorts because I have all this content, 17 episodes have released 4, and just do shorts. And she's like, each one is like the way she put it, each one is like a lottery ticket, that you put it in there, and if they decide to show it, then you might get 1 million views, and then all of a sudden we've got a bunch of energy flowing to see this awesome show that you produce. So yeah,
no downside too.
Yeah,
no downside. If nobody sees it, like nobody saw it fail.
Yep, that's a great point.
We're embarrassed. Like, oh, what if people see that it got 12 views? Only 12 people will witness that it had 12 views.
That's a great point.
And that feels kind of fun. Like I stumble upon interviews sometimes. Like I was watching this interview with Del, the funky Homo sapien, and it had like 72 views. I'm like, what? He agreed to do this tiny podcast, and it's only got 72 views, and it's a great interview. This is quite a little deep
little nugget
I've got. Yeah. Do I share it? No. Do I talk about it in a podcast 2 years later? Yes.
So let's ask, it was Del right when he said rhythm. What did he say it? He said something to the effect of, God darn it, I'm forgetting the exact lyric. Either you've got it or you don't. That's a fallacy.
Either you got it or you don't. It's the rhythm and the rhythm.
Is that a fallacy?
Yeah.
Does everyone have rhythm? I think so. Some people are going to be more inclined rhythmically, right? Like, just like LeBron James is more inclined to make a basket than maybe you or I, but we can certainly work on our shooting skills.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try there. I was not even qualified to make a JV B team. No. So in high school. So my LeBron days are
behind you.
Yeah, I don't think, maybe there's one timeline where that happens, but it's like a purely probabilistic Airbud
it's
style
like the
timeline.
Weirdest timeline that's ever existed in all of creation.
Did you ever
where you're like
fantasize-
center of the Los Angeles Lakers?
Yeah. Do you ever fantasize about like, well, I could play in the NBA if I just had the best jump shot in the whole universe and I could not miss. They would have to let me on like
They'd have
Air
to.
Bud.
Like you
Yeah.
never missed. You hit 100% of the shots you
Mhm.
took.
Yeah, if I just figured it out. Like I figured out how to do it. It can't be that hard. The basket never moves. My hands are the same. Like
Yeah,
it's got to be
right.
something, but
Yeah.
no, it's harder than that.
I think this is my new project. I'm going to work on like being the first person to become a professional and best basketball player of all time over 40. I mean, no one's done
He
that yet.
stole my idea. My idea was just make every basket instead of missing it. It's mine. I'm owed 50% of royalties from your Nike deal.
Yeah, fair enough. You can have the left
No.
shoe and I'll take the right. Or
It's-
actually,
it's
I'll
weird
take the left because
having-
I'm left-handed.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. That was the one thing I didn't know about you.
Well, now you know it.
Yeah, I've got it
Yeah.
all down now. Now I can fully replicate you across various social
I'm
media.
looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this completely.
Actually,
It's gonna
I
be-
regret saying that because if someone actually does that, then you'll think it's me. But I don't have the energy.
We'll
You-
see. That could
think
be
of-
just like you trying to snowball me with you saying that. And meanwhile, you're over there already making plans to hijack.
Yeah, you don't see
me.
where my hands are. I'm already on another computer.
I
making
actually had
fake accounts.
my iCloud account. I woke up this morning. Your phone number is now attached to Destiny's iPad or something. I'm like, who's Destiny or whatever the name was, something like that.
Have you been to
Anyway.
a strip club in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah. Only on the days that end in Y.
Oh,
I have no idea. So yeah, maybe it's really you
that is
like
scary
hacking
when
my iPad.
it's scary when technology, your identity is stolen at this point in the game, because I swear I have to like do the thumb ID and double
Yeah.
two-step verification for every little login.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
that gets hacked, it's like, oh geez.
Yeah.
What do I even
Yep.
do now? It's gonna get scary when our voices can be deep faked easily and our video can be deep faked easily. And what is
I mean,
what
it's
is
going to
going
get everyone's going to be off the hook for everything, right? They can't ever say, we've got you on tape, or maybe they can. Maybe they'll be able to discern some way, but
if there's artifacts in the deep fake, or if the companies that make the deep fakes have to put an artifact legally or something like that. The future is going to get weirder. And I wanted to ask you about this, where or I don't even know if it's that much of a question. Maybe I'm just talking at you, but as we get older, this just gets stranger, doesn't it? Haven't you noticed that all of existence just gets weirder and weirder as you get older? And
my life's
there's this
definitely gotten weirder.
theory- Yeah, like your personal life and the outside world. And the reason that happens is because the likelihood of you existing at all is very slim. You're a probability miracle. There's no reason you should exist. And the longer you exist, the less probable it is that you're still around. So the universe has to keep getting stranger because less probabilistic things have to keep happening in order for you to still live on this timeline, because neither of us have died yet. We're still hanging out, seeing where this goes.
Well, we think.
We thought Trump was strange. We thought COVID was strange. Like, what if we're not even at the, what if it's not even the first inning?
I'm going to drop some strange prediction for you then.
Please.
So he's actually, well, I don't know if he wants me to give up his name. It's someone who used to live here at the Mystic Manor, who's one of my favorite people that's been here. A lot of people have come through over the couple years. And this person is amazing, very put together, very, just a very dialed human being and amazing human being. And they went to the Amazon for months and spent time with all these really remote tribes. And he just came back and has decided from his experience there that he is going to give up everything. He just become a doctor, give up the practice he was planning to open here in Southern California, and go back and work with this tribe, this very remote tribe, where one of their biggest challenges, this tribe he's working with, is a neighboring tribe that no one's interacted with, who will, if you come too close, will shoot blow darts at you that have poison. So
Oh no.
that, yeah, he's like, that's the, the deal with these guys. One of the things in their day to day, like what? So anyway, he's decided to drop everything based off his 3 months there and go and stay permanently because he was shown he did several ayahuasca journeys, and one of them he was shown that he'd lived 1,000 lifetimes in different tribes, and that's why he's now able to be this bridge, and he's like, I experienced some of all of those lifetimes. And then he said he was shown the day his mother dies and him there, and like he knows when to go and like be with her, and like, crying, telling me this. And then the other thing he shares is one of the most intense thing he was shown was these beings came to him. He had complete communion with them, extraterrestrials who say on 2/22/22 they're going to make their grand appearance on the planet, and everything will be completely, our old world is just going to become like gone. Like,
Hell yeah,
ultimately.
overdue.
Yeah, overdue.
When they were
So
talking about COVID and murder hornets and stuff, everyone was saying like, "What next? Aliens?" And
Right,
then we're
right.
just looking, and then nothing. Like, come on,
So-
they're giving us everything but aliens. Give it up.
Yep. You heard it here first. I didn't, who knows? I'm not saying it is or isn't happening. I just know this person believes wholeheartely, based off of the experience that they had, that that's what's
Stranger
coming.
Things on Netflix,
Strange.
season
Whew.
3. There's I have friends that speak to aliens and they call them their alien guides, and I believe it.
With channeling, most of the channel material out there that I've come across is super inspired and super incredible. And there's even been some of that going on here at the Mystic Manor in the last few weeks. It's been very intense. And if you judge the content, for like Abraham Hicks or Bashar or, Oneness by Rasha, one of my favorite channel texts. It's brilliant material. Paul Selig, who's about to be on the show.
Oh yes, Paul Selig is about to be on the show. Paul Selig is about to be on the show. He's going to talk about his guides. He's going to talk about his guides, and he's got 8 more books coming out, and he has 8 more books.
Nine.
I forgot about him. I'm so glad you brought him up. Like another example of a very unique character, and
you need to get him down.
Yeah,
You've been working on it.
First heard him on Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Yeah. Maybe he's changed it, because if you go back and look, like he was less quick with it, because for those of you listening that don't know who Paul Selig is, he channels a group of entities. I forget what the name of the entities is, but he has to mutter it really fast and then repeat what he muttered. Like, so they just give me a message right now. They just gave me a message right now. Have you talked to him yet? Are you familiar with this chick?
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with his work, but certainly not like I've like read segments of his, a couple of his books, but like 1/50th, So
they're intense, and I feel like they use a lot of original language, for lack of a better word, where you don't understand what's going on in like book 4 unless you've read the other book. So it's kind of tricky to just jump in the middle, because you're like, what are you talking about? The small self? I am free. I am free. I am free.
The upper room and the lower room or something.
Oh yes. Just, we're here to open the door, and when the last person has walked through, we will walk through as well. My favorite line from him is, the object of fear is to claim more of itself. So anything you're afraid of, its goal is to make you afraid of it, and so that it can grow. So in listening to any fear, you're feeding it.
Wow, that's a good one.
He says it as part of a longer arc, but that soundbite really stuck out to me. The object of fear is to claim more of itself. The small self wants to be in control. Yes.
That makes so much sense. I like Richard Rudd's answer to that, which is, fear is safe.
Like,
so they should battle. You know what I mean?
Fear is safe. Yeah, it's you're hiding in the fear.
Yeah, like don't be afraid of. It's it's like the only thing to fear is the fear of fear, kind of thing.
Yeah, it sucks that we have these cliches so early so that we discredit them, and then you have epiphanies in your 20s and 30s, and then you realize, like, wait, this is what cartoons and my parents were telling me, but since I heard it in a different way, now it works.
Now I can be cliche too.
Yeah.
So I cut you off in my overexcitement. You were talking about your friends who talk to aliens.
Oh,
Go.
you cut me off. I didn't even notice. So one of the ones I'm thinking of right now is Jessa Reed. She's got a podcast called Awakening Orientation Department. Before that, she had a podcast called Soberish. And before that, she had a podcast called Mormon and the Meth Head. She's the meth head, or she used to be a meth head. She's got a crazy story. She's died before, and she became part of this big blue ball of light and was one with everything. And the big blue ball of light told her, like, well, you're dead. You can hang out here. It's safe and fun. But if you want to go back to Earth, we have a fun project for you. And you can assist in the awakening of mankind. And so she came back in like 2001 from death. And she's got these alien guides. And they've made some pretty cool predictions. They predicted within a week of when the COVID thing happened, the big shutdown, she predicted that in December. And the prediction was the alien guide said that the Earth is passing through this kind of glitter stuff, and everything's going to shut down, and old paradigms are going to change, and we're going to be stuck inside by ourselves. And it made no sense at the time. And then when COVID happened, I was like, your alien guides predicted it.
Wow. I'll have to check her out. Maybe she'd be good for this show. I'd like to.
Oh, she'd be great because she embodies the positive woo-woo stuff, and it's not saccharine at all. It's very blunt, in your face, and she's a comedian too, so she has that angle of it as well. But she's very real, and she's got it.
Cool.
She's got it in terms of broadcasting, even though every episode she tapes, she says, "This is stupid. I suck."
Oh, well, I'm sold. I like the
check
humility.
her out. Yeah. The alien Jessa Reed guides, alien school, all about getting out of the matrix, or whatever you want to call it. We all need a little bit of that.
Be the glitch you want to see in the matrix.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that image.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's made the rounds recently.
That's so crazy. Of all the images that sometimes we still see, like, did you see that meme? I did see that meme. Of all the billions that are created every single day, this one arrived at both of our eyes, and it's our newspaper now. Like I was in the morning when you wake up, you go take a piss, whatever, and then you start looking at your phone, sometimes the opposite order. But as I was looking through the phone, I'm like, I'm the version of the 50s dad that's got a pipe and a cup of coffee and the newspaper, but it's my phone and a cold brew and a vape pen instead. I'm this futuristic just kitchen table man, and I wonder what the next iteration of that'll be.
Yeah.
You just jack your nerve to feel like stimulus or something in 20 years.
What do you think it'll be?
Well, we thought it was going to be glasses, right? With Google Glass, it felt like that was the next logical step, but we saw that went nowhere. Same with Microsoft HoloLens. It didn't take off. We're kind of weird about wearable tech. I feel like holding a phone or a flip phone or smartphone is a different thing than putting in contacts or a chip in your brain or glasses. So I think we have to get over that hump as people, and it's scary. I mean, I don't want it. Of course, I don't like the idea of a chip in my brain and having ads blasted into my consciousness when I'm just trying to think for myself. But I also am a realist somewhat, and realize that this technology thing is not stopping. It's going to go where it goes. We grabbed hold of a tiger when we left the ocean. We're just kind of on this ever climbing thing, like no more ocean, land. Okay, the trees. Okay, we're not going to do hunter gatherer anymore. We're agriculture. No more agriculture. Now is computers, internet, industrial, like so on and so on and so on. And
yeah,
the rate at which it accelerates is accelerating. So more can happen in the next 10 years than happened in the last 100 years, and so on and so on. So it's going to get wild. If you like weirdness and like being surprised, then I think the next 10 years are going to be something. But to answer that question, I'll put some kind of wager on maybe contact lenses and then chip in the brain, Neuralink, something
Makes
like
sense.
that.
I think that's a good. I think I saw something. I can't remember. Maybe it was Elon Musk. Someone saying, "Well, we're already cyborgs." Like
true.
This phone that you carry everywhere is an extension of you. It just hasn't been fully integrated into you biologically yet, but it's.
Have you read Accelerando?
No, what's that?
It's a sci-fi novel from Charles Stross, and in it he talks about one of the words used pretty early on is exocortex. So like the smartphone essentially is the exocortex in this sci-fi world. And the same way that now we don't remember phone numbers. Remember in the 90s we knew the phone numbers of our best friends and even just acquaintances. You kind of knew phone numbers. Now, do you know a single phone number other than your own?
Nope. I tried to memorize one recently just to do it on a walk with my girlfriend, and I think I did at the time, but now I'm trying to recall it, and I know it was 666 something, which is an interesting sign.
The mark of the beast. Stay away from that one. Or maybe Lucifer is good. Go to that one.
Yeah,
who knows?
Right. Lucifer translates to like Lightbringer.
Yeah, bringer of the light, revealer of the dark, or unveiler of the darkness. Oh, but the point of the thing was, so right now we don't remember phone numbers. If we move our cell phone into our brain, what the conclusion of this book is that we're going to start forgetting faces too, to where if you don't have your exocortex thing, faces are not memorized, because we need, like, why should I memorize your face? Like I'll offload that to the computer. Same with language, the way that Grammarly and spell check like fixes us, and when we're typing in something without spell check, we're just a mess. We're like, how do you spell tomorrow? How many R's are in this thing? God damn, it's Wednesday. It's not Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, so maybe we start to offload more to the machines and become less of. Questlove talked about this too, like how the brain used to be this thing that was supposed to hold information, and now in this digital streaming age, it's not good to hold information because it changes so much. It's better to use your brain as like a thing that picks up things temporarily and lets them go, like juggling or just tapping into knowledge that's always there. So we're going to have to adjust what we've learned as people, and there's going to be a lot of forgetting and relearning of stuff, I think, as with software.
It makes sense. Like, I saw something not long ago talking about, really intelligent people oftentimes have a bad memory. And so, it makes sense, right? That you would ultimately, as you get more intelligent, it's like you find a way to free up your bandwidth to do something other than just memorize who you're talking to or whatever. Yeah. It's like you're getting pulled in a million other directions.
And I'm wondering if this is all leading to some seamless transition towards death. Because if you're a disembodied spirit, you have no attachment to a body or people and anything, and you're truly free because attachment is the cause of suffering, because everything you attach to is going to go away, or you won't get it to begin with, or maybe you get sick of it and you can't get rid of it, like when Homer Simpson has the donuts being shoveled into his mouth forever. Except he enjoyed that. That's a bad example. But perhaps like the last step is like, now we fully move into the computer and I have nothing. I don't remember phone numbers, faces, my name. I am just awareness that attaches to whatever thing that I fancy in that moment. And then that's how the next cycle of pure souls begin in the metaverse.
Wow. Maybe so.
Or the whole thing melts down. Maybe we go back to the woods again, Burning Man style.
That could happen too. Every movie seems to think that's what's going to happen. So that's why I love
the destruction.
The dystopian. Every future, it's like super dystopian. Like you're in a spaceship, but you eat out of a tin can. And, your clothes are super Burning Man.
Except for Star Trek, right? Star Trek. Utopian.
That's my favorite show of all time.
You get
Star
a holodeck.
Discovery.
I haven't even checked out Discovery yet.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
So smart. And, the type of future that I would envision would really come to be, as opposed to, eating beans out of a dirty mug.
Oh, yeah. Or like the rat burger from Demolition Man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
check out Star Trek Discovery. Favorite show of all time.
I like Star Trek. I like Next Generation. I like Deep Space Nine. Didn't catch.
I haven't really watched the others that much. Like
really?
So I couldn't tell you. But Discovery is amazing.
Oh, that's good. It's tough to get into the old ones because technology moves so fast.
I know. That's my problem. I want to see it sleek and cool and like, God, don't make me watch this rickety old graphic.
I think Star Wars did good with it though, because it almost became Star Wars is so its own lane that you don't mind that it's
Yeah, that's true.
70s technology.
true.
Like it
That's
looks like
true.
what the 70s thought was the future, and now it's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the glitchy hologram or the giant buttons and the
Yeah.
gray computer
Yeah,
panels. Like this is 70s shit. And then
totally.
yeah, but it works because it's its own lane, its own universe.
Well, man, I feel like you and I could do this for like eternity, and maybe we are doing this for eternity because this moment is always happening. Dun dun
Yeah,
dun.
But we've got to stop it somewhere, otherwise we won't get our bills paid, right? We have to move on with our day. We have to go
They'll
have
eventually
difficult
come in and just
conversations.
drag us out of. I wonder how long it would take until someone came and physically took you out of the place you're in. If we just kept talking and you had enough food, like how long until, what would you guess until you would physically get removed? If you just ignored everyone who came in, would not address them, you only continued to just banter with me on and on and on.
I feel like Catherine would give me 24 hours. I feel like she respects the space of when I'm recording. So
okay, so now you disregard her, and she finally. What does she do next? You never even you break. You just keep going.
She probably texts me while I'm in here, like, "Hey, you want food? You're gonna eat? Are you coming out? Are you okay?" Probably that. And then if I continue to not respond, and maybe she peeks her head in the door, and I motion her to get out, and like, get out, or we're through. But then, I don't know. It's tough to predict. Maybe she would call an audible and just drag me out or something. Or
yeah, that's what I'm wondering when the final is. Someone came and physically removed you from the space, like you being evicted. You're being, I just wonder how long.
Oh, could be if I don't have the bills on auto pay. That happened to me actually. Someone came and took my car because I thought my car was on auto pay and it wasn't, and they came and repossessed it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was scary. And I went to go get some stuff out of the car. And then they were like, "Oh, okay, we're glad you didn't make a break for it. Because if you had made a break for it, you would have been arrested for grand theft auto." And I was like, I wasn't trying to make a break for it. I was just trying to get my stuff out of the car because I have to go get it from. This was years ago, though. I'm not that scatterbrained anymore. Before I think a lot of millennials are like this. Like adulting is tough. It's tough to adult. Like, oh, I have to pay my phone bill. That's adulting. I have to text you back. That's adulting. And eventually you kind of get over your millennial self and say, okay.
You realize you're like, you're the adult now because there's like so many generations, like 4 generations behind you now as a millennial.
Oh,
5.
yeah.
I'm a Gen X, so it's like
the forgotten generation. Yeah. You guys are the forgotten one. There's no attention to Gen Xers. It's all about the boomers, millennials, now the Zoomers, and then Generation Alpha, I think, is next.
Oh, wow.
Born after 2012. Yeah, it's wild. That. So we're starting to be boomers now. Gen X used to be the happening leather jacket wearing Mohawk Daria thing.
We had Nirvana, for God's sake.
You did. The MTV generation. You guys were cool. You just disobeyed your parents and didn't really try to do too much crazy stuff. And then we're over here like saying everything is triggering us and that you're not respecting my space or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. That you just summed it up very nicely. It's a great way as we conclude. So why don't you, Ramin, share? This has been actually super fun.
Really great. I'm glad.
I've fully enjoyed this. This is probably the least structured podcast I've ever done.
That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to tear down structures. I'm here to tear down existing paradigms, such as
can we do it again next
thought.
week?
I'd love to.
Can we do it again next week? Okay, cool.
Let's do it.
I want to do it again.
I want to be the Andy Richter of Positive Head.
Done. Hired. Sold to the man without another Andy Richter. Okay, so tell people how, where, when, why they would follow you and
so I'm most active on Instagram as far as social media goes. My name is Ramin Nazer on Instagram. You can also go to rainbowbrainskull.com and check out all my art and animation and books and stuff. You can read the books for free on the site, and you can also order physical ones if you like to own something tangible. But anything you purchase helps support me and keeps my little business alive. It's just me. There's no board or any other thing. I'm just one little solo pirate ship fish thing, trying to not have a
Floating
job.
in
And it's
eternity.
been working. Yeah, it's been working for the past decade or so. So I'm very grateful that I get to do that, because a lot of people are at a job right now that they hate and they don't want to be there. So I don't
It's
want to be
true.
like you. So use your money to support me so I don't have to live like you. Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good sell for your workshop. That's a great segue into your new workshop.
You got it.
69.69 limited supply. Oh man, you're a trip. So much
You too,
fun.
my friend.
I have one final question for you here.
Sure.
Maybe my first question. Guess what it is?
It's the elevator one or the meaning of life one?
The meaning of life. What is the meaning of life?
So what's Douglas Adams of Hitchhiker's Galaxy said it's 42, but I'll give a better answer. So the big game is the one we've all heard, the fight of darkness versus light, and entropy versus love. And sometimes people think love isn't real because my ex and I didn't get along, and love is just oxytocin in your brain so you don't eat your kid. That's the only reason we have love, is so you don't eat your children, which I think that's an overly simplistic view of love. I think a good definition of love is the opposite of entropy. And another word for entropy would be fear. So you've got fear versus love, right? Fear is seeing anything outside of yourself as not part of you. Thus, you can take from it, you can hurt it. It doesn't matter. It's not you. Love is seeing everything else, the chair, other people, as part of you, because you are the universe. You're the whole fractal source energy that you describe at the beginning of every podcast intro. You are it. You are source. So when you hurt someone else, when you're being dishonest, you're being dishonest to yourself. And this is an infinite game that goes on forever, which we can fight against entropy and build upon love. And the more complexity and interconnectivity and cooperation we have, the more fun this whole experience will be, because it's more fun to be a human than it is to be a slug, I imagine, or a piss ant or something. So as we kind of expand in our cooperation and being more kind and expressing ourselves, I think this can just go on forever and be a blast. Like maybe this is the most limited version of yourself you will ever know. Maybe it's all up from here if you make that choice. So be love now. And I
love that.
Fear is just that. So don't listen to the fear, and everything is you, and you got this. You're good. That's what the meaning is.
Woo! I like that. That was quite the note to end on.
Yeah, I just wanted the podcast to go on longer.
Yeah. Well, I did realize I didn't ask you your story of synchronicity or serendipity. If you want to extend it.
Do I even have one?
You did share your DMT story, so we could let
that counts. I don't have a lot of interesting like numbers or running into people stories, at least not that I remember. One might come back later, but everyone I think of is so personal and tough to put in a story form without being like, so I'm there with Carl, right? And Carl was dating Jennifer, and Jennifer had this lizard, and lizards are like, it's all a mess in my head. I have to like sit down and rearrange it into a thing. But trust me, it proves that the universe is magic. If you just sat down with me for 2 hours, I could convince you that I had a synchronicity.
Well, once you come back on as me, imitating me, irrecognizably imitating me with your impression, then you can share all the synchronicities, which will go along with, convincing them that you're me. And I think that's,
I just verbatim lift old Positive Head episodes.
Ramin, you are a trip. You're so fun, buddy.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. And keep doing what you're doing. I think you're doing a really great thing. And this podcast is such a fun, lack of a better word, safe space against the rest of everythingness. Everything is selling you negativity, and this thing is pushing back against it. And I think that's very cool.
Well, we did it together, and it was a blast. Thank you all for tuning in your beautiful brainwaves and incredible hearts. Till next time, everyone, journey well. Love you so, so much.
Journey well.
Also, before we sign off, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can find the book and unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.